what is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the third album by rapper Gorilla Zoe. Basically this product is called King Kong and it came out in the late spring in 2011. So the thing about this particular product here is just the fact that this is 3 for 3 for Gorilla Zoe as far as what's first going to happen. This is 3 for 3 in terms of hit albums for Gorilla Zoe as far as what's first going to happen. Now surprisingly, this is still his most recent album. The pitch behind it was just the fact that he had a pretty good second follow-up, which I think within certain senses, Don't Feed the Animals from 2009 was kind of a surprise just because it hit songs like Echo and What It Is and some of those type ones, and lost some of those particular type fares. Definitely some excellent type appeal. But this particular album is another hit smash, and I didn't appreciate this album as much back in 2011. I did try to fuck with this album back in like the early 2010s when it came out, but particularly this was my least favorite back in those days, is because I didn't get the concept of like the paradigm shifts that were kind of going on, just taking a little bit to get within the embrace of like the EDM type sound and the more mixtape drill type stuff within the pitch of some of those particular type formats. But this particular style has like a blockade of just like a trip, I would almost say like at least a triple threat, just kind of the concept of like Gucci Mane and Waka Flocka type mixtape drill in here, some EDM type moments that were blossoming out of 2011, and then leftover moments from like 2000s trap as far as those first happened. It has at least those particular three assets about it, pretty in the high supremacy about it, but it's just kind of the concept that Gorilla Zoe was still, like, folks probably still remembered him from even as far back as 2007, so it's a good type pitch to get some of that particular fare. There is at least one lone drummer boy beat on here within the pitch behind him. It's just kind of the aspects as far that just within the pitch, as far as like the spring of 2011, just things how much tides had shifted from like 2007 when more songs like Hood Nigga and some of those type ones, and even songs like Lost from 2008, 2009 were kind of happening. Just within the pitch, like Welcome to the Zoo from 2007 is more late 2000s kind of traditional type fashion and trap, more in like the sense of like Gucci, or yeah, more in the sense of like 2000s Gucci Mane and Jeezy, some of those type folks within a particular pitch, Boys in the Hood type styles. And then 2009's Don't Feed the Animals is more in the pitch of like blossoming, kind of like the Conduit type one. That one's a little bit more difficult to describe within the pitch, but it did have like some moments that was early embracing kind of like the auto-tune type format before folks like Future and before folks like Migos and more folks within those particular type pitches. But I look after this within the tone, just kind of helped kick off a particular style as like the mixtape era started to blossom a lot more into like the full bound format as to what it was in the 2010 2011 type pitch. So it's just within the tone. Now 2009's Don't Feed the Animals didn't have like drill on their pitches like that, but just some moments like Gorilla Zoe definitely got a pretty good batch of just like radio ready type songs like Echo and some of those type ones that were really some pop rap type appeals. He continues that on this particular album. Gorilla Zoe definitely has the ability to have like some of these type ones that are makeshift within a sense, but just does in like a trap type format. He was like the early bird kind of formation of like Future, some of those type folks. Like Gorilla Zoe eventually evaporated after this particular product. I think he put out like a few other mixtapes, but Future continued this particular style. But Gorilla Zoe really had a pretty good adaptation of it. Just the pitch Echo is pretty nice pop rap type one within the fair, just a makeshift type push in like the Atlanta type area. He was particularly doing that around that time. But this album, Gorilla Zoe translates to EDM pretty excellently well, I'd say. Just the concept when you think of like what was popular in like the spring, winter, and summer of 2011 with LMFAO and Pitbull and like 303 and some of those type folks, other folks like that, trying to think of some other ones like Cobra Starship, a bunch of these folks that were just kind of transgressing like that EDM type sound. This is a good type pitch, but it does within a trap type format. So it's basically just like getting a mixtape of like something that LMFAO would have done in like the summer of 2011, which was definitely red hot with songs like Party Rock Anthem and like Sexy and I Know It's in those type pitches. So it's just, it works extremely well. This is something that definitely should have lasted a lot further. It was just kind of a last batch that just kind of particularly fell apart. But the thing about this album did actually chart better than what was expected. Originally I thought that this is the one that didn't chart as heavily out of his albums, but it's just kind of within the pitch for us saying that Twisted did hit number 77 on the Billboard 100, so it's a good type pitch to get some of these. It's just a little bit more underground type fare. It didn't do as humongously well as like Don't Feed the Animals and Welcome to the Zoo, but it's still a good follow-up. And just, I mean, this is going to get a classic score. I recommend every song off this album, including the songs in the deluxe edition. So it is a classic here, and this is the aspect of the appeal that just all these blistering styles, the vintage trap, the 2010s mixtape drill and trap, and then like the EDM type formats, all these work extremely well. So it's just a great amalgamation, just a hybrid of a project that just is a complete knockout knockout. So I look after it, but just the fact that it was just a good time, just definitely a good era, just tasted some things that just had some excellent type fare. It just feels like that particular conduct needs to come back within the sense of it. I was looking forward to like a Gorillaz album, considering that he dropped one every other year in 2007, 2009. I thought he was going to drop one in 2013, but it just never happened within the pitch. But it's too bad about that. But let's look within the fair that this is an excellent kind of send off. He did drop further mixtapes, so it's just an appeal. So basically, the three singles. The first one was What's Going On. This is like a tinkering kind of factory trap noise kind of get here. Just a good mini drill kind of evolution for Zoe. I'd say, and the song grinds pretty well within the pitch behind. So it's just good type concept here to be able to get some of this. The product of this particular album, it's just a good embrace of like the trendiness that was kind of going on around those particular times. Girls though is from Atlanta within those pitches, so it just has the concept of being able to say and stuff that just has that particular trap format. It just like typical type fare when you think of Gucci Mane. A lot of similarities to Gucci Mane and the stuff he was doing in 2010, 2011, some of those type fares. Waka Flocka, some of these type folks are on here. This is more of like basically like a pop rap kind of drill type song. Not quite as heavy hitting, not quite as ferocious, carnivorous as like Hard in the Paint, but within the format of just being within that neighboring style, that particular aspect there. So it's just good type one. Just takes it to like some of the format of just more like OJ to Juice Man with also like some Gucci Mane type flavor just within the pitch, just in the pop rap type appeal. Now, this is more of like a buzz single. This one didn't catch on as heavily, but it's just a good, nice one to kind of have for some of that type format of trying to get like that mixtape. Because back in like late 2010 when this came out, the single came out, and then the product of this album being pushed out in like the spring of 2011, mixtape drill was not quite in like the commercial type format. This is before like Pluto by Future and Finally Rich by Chief Keef, some of those type moments. So it was still kind of within the buzzing type moments of just getting that to like that mixtape type format, getting that to like an album. So this is some ones that help with that. Twisted is a real quality one. This is the highest charting song off this album. It's a real excellent type pitch here. It's like a basic kind of glitzy trap EDM bounce, I'd have to say here. It just feels like an evolution of 2000s. This particular song feels like an evolution of 2008's Low by Flo Rida, just with Lil Jon attached to it as far as those first going to happen. So it's a good type pitch. So it's just within the format as far as saying Twisted has a real excellent hook on here. A lot of this particular album has some excellent hooks. There's some great ones on here. I Do It's pretty the song I Do It's a real nice one. My Shawty's real nice one. Main Thing has one of the best hooks on here. Like there's some other ones like Turn Me On's a real excellent type one. Twisted's pretty, like I was saying, Twisted's pretty nice one. Crazy's pretty good. So there's just some good pitches. A lot of just packed to gills with some radio ready hooks and this overall glitz and appeal. But Twisted, like I was saying, is just the basic format of just getting like a revamp of Flo Rida's Low from 2008, just with the pitch of being able to say it just does it like a more slinky and just kind of more darker type fashion, just a little bit like the song says, twisted within the appeal. It's a good concept of getting like that relative type appeal, but it does it just with a little bit more trap and EDM type bounce about. So it's just kind of concept more trap oriented than Low was, less pop rap like Low from 2008, but just trap EDM within the pitch, just having like some of that relative type appeal, just the embrace of going from like vanilla kind of makeshift radio type pop songs to more of like trap kind of push within that concept, just having a real nice swirl to it. So it's this good transit of that. The song probably should have done a lot better than it did just in the concept of dislike. It's just kind of underappreciated within the sense. It doesn't seem as commonplace in today's times, that I have to say. I definitely think, you know, when folks think of like Hood Nigga and some of those type ones and Lost, some of those type of appeals, this is kind of a late era highlight for girls. So it's a good nice one here. Just real nice format. Crazy is a great song as well. This has Gucci Mane on there. It's the third single. It's like a highlighted kind of Pandora and TV music station buzzer, it has to say here. Just hella hooky. I would definitely feel like here, just vintage kind of 2010s gem. The concept behind this, when I say Pandora, basically like the radio station Pandora, some of those type fares, that's more of like 2010s and late 2000s type fashion. Pandora was kind of the thing before like Spotify, some of those type fares, but there's some songs in this particular album that feel like TV music station kind of noise when you listen to some of that type fare, like when you go to a hotel or something like that and you just listen to music on like the television where it just plays like endless kind of cycles of just songs just to really wig out to and just have some pitches like that, have some champagne, some of those type fares. It's kind of the concept as far as saying just the concept of, it's kind of like some graftings kind of get within the pitch behind it, just some good type formats for just like the concept of just like conduit type moments of just kind of getting tore up, maybe not, just kind of like further social type moments within the aspect behind it. It's kind of the pitch of maybe not like a full bound kind of house party where there's just red cups everywhere, but just within the pitch of just having like some turn up within a more kind of just relative to sense, having some beers nearby and like having some beers nearby and having a TV music station on within the pitch. This was kind of before YouTube would play those particular songs, before YouTube was kind of on television, so it's a good type pitch for a lot of that particular type format. It's a good type appeal. Crazy definitely did that particularly well. Real nice aspect here. Gucci Mane hits this song pretty well. It's just vintage. This is another one just like What's Going On, some of those this type trap type formats that kind of have like a relative kind of ripped out of 2010, feels like a Lex Luger Southside type beat, some of those type folks within particular about a good type appeal. So yeah, basically recommend every song on here, including the Best Buy edition, which I don't know if it's still available. I'm glad that like Spotify has these particular songs. The 3 extra songs, Liquor in My Cup, Work Hard, and Mile High Club, are all excellent to have on here. So I'd hesitate. It might be on the iTunes edition, but these are additional songs that you probably do want to pick up. I recommend all 3 of those. So all 17 songs recommend. So this album gets a 10 out of 10. So I'm just gonna go down the list with some of these. Basically, like this, pretty much these are just vicious type ones. Like Liquor in My Cup's real excellent one here. This is like a social kind of feeling, swash kind of trap EDM flavored late ambience kind of get here. Just a get right type song, kind of having just an overall lit type one. It's just within the passion of getting crunk a little bit, just kind of the concept, just more of like a house party or like a venue within a relative type sense of just having some get bent type appeal within the aspect of it. Having some get bent type appeal within the aspect behind it. Just as I say, just plenty of social step out. This particular album is definitely going to get probably like a 10 out of 10 in terms of the social score, because there's just tons of these. Just right down to the song title with it saying Liquor in My Cups. Just kind of the conduct of just having some of these house party type moments, just the more just consistent kind of casual type flavor that just works pretty well. So this is a little bit more of like a John. Like I do feel like when I talked about Welcome to the Zoo, from what I remember, that was just a little bit more traditional type fashion, more in a Jeezy type motivation type prospect. Gorillaz really cuts loose on this particular album. So there's plenty of these, plenty of get tore up type songs. Liquor in My Cup, Party Over Here, My Shawty, Your Bitch, Turn Me On, some of these type ones that just have that real kind of cut loose, just this fashion, just really Friday relief and some of those type of feels. So it's a good, nice one. Liquor in My Cup, Party Over Here is another one just like that. It's like a dripping kind of night commerce, I'd say, and club activity. I'd have to say here, good concept for that. Just night crawling kind of music, I'd have to say, within those tones. Just overall litty type one. So this kind of the fashion of some of these. So yeah, I would say Party Over Here, these are just consistent kind of highlights of ones. It's pretty much, I mean, the thing about this particular album is if you're used to like the production fare of Welcome to the Zoo and like Don't Feed the Animals, it's not within the late 2000 type fashion. It's definitely trendy to like what was going on. It just more, so I think that's part of the reason why I didn't appreciate this album as much back in the early 2010s, because it just switches like the styles. It has a little bit of a learning curve. If you're more adapted to like late 2000s kind of Drumma Boy and Justice League type beats, some of those type folks in particular, it just doesn't have that particular in fashion. It's just more trendy to like the trends and the poppiness of what was going on in 2010, 2011. But Party Over Here is just nice one for some of those type fares. Just really has that good concept, just like mixtape type fare with it. Your Bitch is a nice one as well, as like a growling kind of vintage in the trenches kind of trap mixtape drifting kind of get here. Just another one, just like what's going on, crazy. Some of those type pitches I had to say, just more kind of out and about, just more in like standard, just traditional, just a more kind of in the trenches sense of just like date afternoons pitches like that, just standard bells type fashion, just within the pitch like day activity, just or evening fare within the pitch, just drifting kind of lit night of crunk as far as those fares gonna happen with it, just good type tone, basic kind of shop type noise within the pitch. There's some ones on here. My Shawty's a little bit more within like a snappy type sense, same sort of product, just a little bit more glissy within a sense, but I would definitely say Your Bitch is just a typical type one of just day type fare, just like saunter within the pitch of just having this shop and just commerce with bells as far as this first gonna happen. Just more activities and more than just a hangout sesh of, just like a couple hours within some of those stuff there. So it's just spending lengthier times just with the pitch behind it. But good type tone. King Kong, the title track, is a nice one here. It's like a vintage kind of late 2000s trap with like a mixtape flavor about it, I had to say here. Just basic hustle grit about this particular one. Throwback Zoe as far as those pitch can happen. So this is one of those type ones. Like I said, this is the only Drumma Boy production on here. It's a good type fare. Just kind of the pitch of what Drumma Boy was kind of up to way out. Kind of the pitch of what Drumma Boy was kind of up to way out in the spring of 2011 as far as those fares can happen. Just good type tone. This one pretty much feels a little bit different from most of the product of this album, but it does within a sense it is something that feels more Jeezy type oriented or Rocco, some of those type folks within the pitch. Less Gucci Mane type flavor, but just kind of the concept of just something that feels like a leftover from probably, I would say, Don't Feed the Animals, just in the pitch, just a little bit more relative trendy type fashion. So it's just kind of a product of like a late blossom type one from that particular era, but it does it pretty well within it. Feels probably more, just feels within like a relative offshoot of like what's going on. Some of those type ones, just more late 2000s type fare. My Shawty's a nice one, real excellent type one here. It's like a snappy kind of booth hang breeze kind of get within those aspects. This night on the town, I'd have to say, shop a bit, get crunk definitely, and some club hops as far as those first happen. So just the social pizzazz, just with bells in mind as far as those pitches kind of happen. Not so much wine and dine, but just the concept of just going, just out on town, paint the town red. Some of those type aspects of just getting crunk within the fashion, just step out, and just the social bliss of just like liveliness kind of within like outing type fare. So it's good type fashion, just romantic type song, what does within the picture, just like quick times with it. Real nice snappy. This is an example of like this is kind of like a blend between trap type music and EDM type fare, but it does within the pitch of just having like that good blistering type of feel. So it's a good, nice one. Nasty is pretty nice one on here. This has like Yo Gotti on here, which is a good cameo within the pitch. This is the Tibble type song that he was on throughout 2011. Just some good type fares for that. It's like a syrupy kind of vintage early 2010s mixtape style heat to kind of get within that particular fare of it. Super crunk with like some radio appeals. It's just a good type fashion. Some of those type ones, obviously Yo Gotti was doing tons of these. Rick Ross, Meek Mill, some of those type folks in particular. Girls, was just a cousin that particular song. He did have some mixtapes, I want to say, in 2011 and 2010. I know he at least dropped a mixtape every day in February 2010, but he might have had more beyond that. Just within the pitch, kind of within the pitch as far as saying this is vintage kind of mixtape trap and drill from like late 2010, early 2011, some of those type fairs. This product that the classic Dat Piff kind of style, just a more album type format. I Do It's a nice one. This one's pretty similar to like Crazy and Twisted and like Crazy and Twisted, some of those type ones. Like a red hot kind of TV music station kind of ambience kind of get here. Just usual night prowls I'd have to say, and primer for some brighter nights as far as this pitch kind of happens. So it's just good type conduct. It's good pitch to kind of get ready for the night as far as this pitch kind of happen. Just a good product to just getting crunk a bit and just getting ready to call up some homies, pitches like that, figure out what's going to happen, get the supplies ready, just get this setup going as far as this pitch going to happen, just like for the concept, but just some pretty raw and just traditional kind of turn up. So it's just not quite as crazy as like some of the EDM type moments, but just when the pitch is just like a basic buzz type particular moment of just having that particular appeal. So just more in like a trap type fashion, but just has like the glitz and just overall hookiness like a lot of this album particularly has. So just good luck for this album as far as those fairs. Probably could have been like a promo single. Main Thing is one of the best songs on this particular album. Definitely appreciate this one. It's like a buzzing kind of grandiose weekend primer. It had to say in Relief. I would definitely feel like here it is excellent kind of trendy EDM timing as far as this pitch gonna happen. So this the concept about this particular song is the fact that Gorillaz though fit this particular EDM type style like a glove as far as this fairs gonna happen. Just taking that particular era of folks like 303 and Cobra Starship and LMFAO and just being able to nail it, not just sounding awkward or pitches like that, but actually having the concept of being able to nail some of this and make it kind of within a trap type form. It just was a very good conduit that laced these particular things, getting some of that type format that Gorillaz was already doing with auto-tune in the first place with Don't Feed the Animals, and then just bringing it to like the fashion what was going on with like pop rock and just pitches like that in 2011. Some of those type fairs like Party Rock Anthem and Sexy and I Know It's some of those type pitches. So it's just within the tone of doing that. Real excellent type of build. It's real glitzy type one. It's a good type concept. Good type concept. Just has a lot of casual appeal, I'd have to say. Another one that's probably a pretty good contender for one of the best on the album in terms of like the most immediate in terms of casual type sense. I mean, this whole album's excellent, but Turn Me On's one that's just like Main Thing. It's like an after hours kind of breeze kind of get here. Just typical kind of 2011 EDM step out, I'd have to say. Just nice glitzy kind of social headway with some of that. So just the fashion, if you just feel it's taking it back to 2011, some of those type moments like We Found Love by Rihanna and pitches like that, Give Me Everything by Pitbull, some of those particular type fairs. It's a good type blitzer that just a little bit uncommon within the pitch. These were not singles, both Main Thing, Turn Me On, some of these type ones, like within particular fashions I do, were not necessarily singles. It's just in the pitch as far as saying My Shawty's no one like that, but just some of these type ones do have like the appeal as far as being able to say that just the fashion behind getting like the taste of 2011, just that EDM type fashion really hits pretty heavily. So it's a good type fare for a lot of that. Just the real social bite about this particular product is real up high just within the pitch. This real has some carnivorous typeness that works. There is some traditional type songs from like the 2009 girls though. When I was saying like this has like remnants of like Don't Feed the Animals, less of like Welcome to the Zoo from 2007, but just a little bit left over from Don't Feed the Animals. At least two songs like It's Over and I'm Not Perfect kind of do that. I think I said It's Not Over. It's actually It's Over. It's Over is like a good rainy makeshift highlight to kind of get here, just like a new era kind of echo song from 2009. I had to say within the pitch, just workaday kind of radio gloss for those fairs gonna happen. So it's just a good continuation of that particular style. If you do miss like the traditional, like this album is not as this particular album is not as makeshift and as blue collar as like the 2009 album was, but it just has some good leftover type moments to have for some of that type fare, just like a typical kind of makeshift type push of just getting to work some of those type fares, just the more brooding type sense of just like the switch up, but just kind of the concept. So this is more Friday loud pack this particular time, but there are some moments for like just kind of an offshoot of like a more kind of notable rainy day kind of Tuesday to something where it's just kind of a glum type day that needs to get ironed out as far as this pitch can happen. It's just good type tone. It's over, just has some of that particular type fare I'm Not Perfect's another one just like that. It's like a brooding kind of in between, down in the dumps kind of moments kind of get here, just a makeshift breakthrough within the pitch behind us. This one, it's not like a full bound kind of copy of Echo, but it does have like similarities like Hell of a Life, some of those type ones, Echo, Hell of a Life, some of those type pitches, just a more traditional kind of makeshift just within the standard fare of it. So just these workaday type ones work for the pitch. Girls though still has the ability to do these. They're not singles this time, but it's a good type pitch to have these modes just to have for that particular fare if you are needing something more than just the Friday and Saturday and Thursday kind of turn up within the pitch. So it's good type tone. And then another one, just like the King Kong title track that takes it back to 2007, Girls Though, is Work Hard. I'd have to say it's like a throwback to late 2000s, so I'd have to say here. Productive kind of urban grind about this one. Just like it's like a productive kind of urban grind to kind of get here, and just a traditional kind of trap slammer within those pitches. So this is more in like the drum and boy type fashion, folks like that, Midnight Black, Justice League, some of those type folks just in the pitch as far as that particular one goes. It's kind of the fashion, something that Jeezy would have done like in 2007, 2008. This fashions like that, Boys in the Hood, some of those type folks. There's not really a lot of guests on this album. That's another thing. Grozzo basically handles this whole album by himself, apart from like Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane, like who drop apart from just one verse from Yo Gotti, one verse from Gucci Mane, and then Lil Jon helps out with like some background vocals on Twisted. But it's a good type pitch. For the most part, this is not a complaint heavy type thing about that in particular, but it's just a concept to kind of notice that there's no traces whatsoever, even mentions of Boys in the Hood within that fare. You would almost kind of forget that Grillzo was a part of that group, but this is like a traditional type one that just takes it back. This is produced by Zaytoven. There's not a ton of Zaytoven productions on this particular album. It's just kind of a leftover type one. It's kind of the format that's just like King Kong, the title track, and just some pitches of like more late 2000s, just from the pitch of just like a traditional kind of hustlers makeshift type grind, just more Jeezy like, Boys in the Hood like. Mile High Club is a nice one as well. It's another good one. It's like a floaty and feel good kind of Traverse push kind of get here, just a peppy kind of on the scene, I'd have to say, within the pitch. Good song to get crunk to, or a primer for that as far as that particular kind of goes. There's kind of this good mood type fashion just within the pitch as far as that would particularly kind of happen. Just kind of the concept, whether it is actually being on a plane, some pitches like that, or just kind of the concept of this kind of being in motion, just more on the go within the aspect of this kind of how that particular happens. This day house just within the pitch of just having like some good times, just feeling a little bit balmy pitches like that. But just I would use it as like a good song to figure out, to get tore up for the day and figure out where some bells are at within the pitch. Good type tone. Trying to think if there's other songs I haven't talked about in here. I think for the fashion I talked about all 17 of these songs. Maybe I didn't talk about At All. Yeah, I don't think I talked about At All. So At All is a real nice one. This is another one of the best songs on the album as far as this pitch kind of having. Goes great with like Turn Me On and Main Thing, some of those type ones, and My Shawty, some of those type ones. Basically, At All is like an early song. At All is like an early 2010s kind of trap buzzer with like a gnarled quick cruise kind of Gucci Mane flavor. I'd have to say about this one, just real turned up as far as those fares gonna happen. So yeah, At All just has like a paced one just within the pitch behind. Just a real nice trap noise kind of get within the fashion. Just feels like something Future would do. And once again, I haven't mentioned Future too many times off this particular product, but just the concept that it's kind of an in-between conduit of like a blend of like Future and then Gucci Mane, some of those type folks, with a little bit of Waka Flocka in there, just within some of those type pitches. So Gorillzo was kind of within that asset, but it's just kind of concept that he was kind of phasing out. For some reason, it just felt like Gorillzo just did not make it much past like 2011, 2012 within the pitch. I don't know why he didn't start to catch on more. I mean, considering all the hits and the hook potential that he had on there, it was just kind of the fashion that he was kind of phasing out, and which is unfortunate because he probably could have made it to like 2013 and 2015, dropped some further albums, but he just kind of capped off with this particular one. But this is a good type pitch, like a paced type one within the fare behind it. Just really feels like a cruise around, just a more quick lift, and then like a more quick living kind of Dark Spice type turn up within the pitch. Just really reminds of something Gucci Mane would kind of do, just real hooky on top of that, just within the pitch as far as those fares gonna happen. Just a trap boiler and just overall turned up within the fashion, like I was saying. Good type fair. So yeah, I think I talked about every song on here. I think that particular tears it. So yeah, this album gets a 10 out of 10. The social score gets a 10 out of 10 as well. There's just too many on here just to be able to say within the pitch of this not being like a easy kind of clean, just 10 out of 10 within the pitch behind it. Hit songs like At All and Your Bitch and Main Thing and Turn Me On and like My Shawty and Nasty and Crazy and Twisted Disc. All these particular ones. There's enough songs on here that probably could have been singles or at least promo singles within the pitch that have enough glitz and noise. The social conduct is just real high on here. Really masters like the concept like some LMFAO type formats, just like that particular like glitz like EDM type fashions. 303, some of those type folks. Cobra Starship has that hook potential. These are not songs that are awkward or scratchy or sketchy. They actually nail it with the same type of flair that those particular pop groups kind of did within the pitch and some of those type fares. And the trap songs really hit heavily. They're turn up. They really get you riled up. This real classic type ones out of the drill type era really blends like some Future, Yo Gotti, and Waka Flocka and Gucci Mane type styles and does it extremely well. So it's just in the pitch. I mean, even though Grozzo was kind of facing out, still some good type blitzers kind of get within that fashion. Just saying that this is a very capital type album. So in terms of future, like once again, Gorillaz, I'm not sure his full bound what he's been up to. This is his most recent album, but I know he's at least dropped further mixtapes. So it's just kind of the format, like I was saying, that he kind of phased out a bit within the tones. This kind of concept definitely could have used another Gorillaz album. Like apparently he got into wrestling or something like that. I don't know what particularly happened throughout like the about the mid 2010s forward, but I think he did at least put out a few more mixtapes. We'll have to get to some of those, but that's really all that's left is just reviewing Gorillaz mixtapes. But this is a classic here, kind of a notable type one. This is a classic here, kind of an underappreciated third album that just doesn't get the lion's share like the concern that he got after like the late 2000s type era. But it's definitely one to pay attention to because it's just 3 for 3 with Gorillaz. This is 3 for 3 with Gorillaz, and these are just awesome highlight type ones. It's definitely a dynamite album out of like the early 2010s.